Yeah, hello, good morning. Okay, in yesterday's session, we saw like how we can load data using Snowsite UI, like from user interface, how we can load the data, and we saw the limitations and all. And now, today we'll see how we can load the data using bulk data, right? Bulk data option. Limited data we have done. Yesterday we have discussed about the limited data using web UI, and now today is a bulk data. So these things we discussed briefly, like. Bulk data is like, for example, mainly there are the two categories. One is the bulk data, another one is the continuous data. These are the major things. Limited data, the using web UI, it's a very limited amount of data we can load and the limited number of files, so that it's a real time mostly in real time mostly will not use it, that option. So mainly we'll use this bulk data and this continuous data. So comes to the bulk data. For example, if there are some data sources and that data is going to the old data warehouse, and now now for example, this from these sources the data is going can be in a bulk data or can be in a continuous data. So bulk data is nothing but in a batch data, like any batch wise we are sending the data, like using the copy into command. There is a command called copy into command. Using that copy into command, we can we can load data into Snowflake using in a batch wise, like for example, for every hour or for every week or for every day or for every 10 days, like that, depending upon the requirement, we need to go that one. So so whenever you are dealing with the bulk data, there are the two ways. One is from the cloud storage or from the local storage. So cloud storage means from an AWS or Azure or Google Cloud Platform. From local storage means from any or any local data warehouse, any local databases, like for example Oracle DB, MySQL DB, or from your local file system. Simply it's a on-premises data. We can call simply an on-premises data. So whenever you are loading the data into Snowflake from cloud, there are the two ways. One is using the from external stage, sorry, from external location. From external location means external location. See, a cloud itself is an external data, loading the external data. Like, for example, external location from external location. External location here is nothing but my S3 bucket. Without creating any stage, I can load the data. And other option is called using the stage. Using the stage, nothing but the external stage. If these are nothing but internal stage, we have discussed yesterday, like what are the various types of stages, like internal stage and external stage. An external stage can be created on a AWS S3, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform. And internal stage, there are three types of internal stage: internal name, user stage, table stage, and internal name stage. We'll discuss in detail with hands-on. So now we'll see how we can load the data. So using copy command, we said using copy command we can load the data from cloud storage or from local machine or on-premises data. Syntax is nothing but copy into namespace. Here namespace is nothing but database name dot schema name and the table name, and from table name from either the internal stage or external location. External location is nothing but without creating the stage, directly we can load the data from S3 bucket or Azure Blob or Google Cloud Platform. External stage means we can create the one external stage which is pointing to my S3 bucket, which is pointing to S3 bucket. If we load from here, that is the external stage. Internal stage means there are the three internal stages: user stage, table stage, and internal name stage. If you are loading that one, we can use this internal stage option. So the syntax is same: copy into database name dot schema name dot table name from any of these option. So compute resource as discussed, virtual warehouse required to load the data. We need to select the appropriate size. Like in a warehouses, there are the different sizes are available, like extra small, small, medium, like t-shirt size are available. And based on requirement, we need to choose the specific size of a virtual warehouse. So from cloud storage, we can load data from S3 bucket, Azure Blobs, and GCP. So this is what from cloud storage. First option is from external location. Whenever you are loading with from external location, this is the option. This is the point we are talking about, right? From S3 bucket, we are trying to load the data. So from external cloud storage, see again here the two options. First of all, for example, whenever you are connecting with any external entity, the AWS and the S3, AWS and the Snowflake are in different entities. Whenever you want to load the data from S3 to Snowflake, we need to think few things. One is like if this bucket is not publicly accessible. If you remember during our S3 session, S3 bucket creation session, we said that public access are blocked. So always our buckets are private buckets only, because that data in that S3 bucket can be accessed to be authorized person only, to the authorized entities only, to the authorized applications only, right? That's why my buckets are always private buckets. So if it is in a public bucket, directly you can load the data. If it is in a private bucket, we need to provide the communication. We need to do some configuration to provide communication between these two. For that, there are the two options are available mainly. One is using the credentials. Another one is using the storage integration. Another one is using the storage integration. See, same command, copy into demo.emp. From directly I'm providing the external means, directly I'm providing the bucket path. See here, directly I'm providing the bucket path in both cases. But how you can connect this bucket, Snowflake 202002 bucket, this is the bucket name, right? That bucket is a private bucket. To access that one, we have the two options. One is using the credentials, another one is using the storage integration, right? Let me open a paint and I will explain. So I'm considering this is my S3 bucket. This is my Snowflake. Inside Snowflake, I have the one table. Inside the database, there is a one table created. I want to load the data from here to here, right? There are the two ways. One is directly from external location. Another one is I'm going to create the external stage here, right? External stage. This is my Snowflake, and this is my S3 bucket, and this is my external stage, right? This is my external stage. Now, and this is my external stage. Okay, this is my external stage, right? Now, for example, there are the two ways we can connect, right? If this bucket is a public bucket, if this bucket is public bucket, no any access required, directly it can connect, right? For anyone that may be in a public bucket or private bucket, there are the two options. One is using the external stage, another one is in a directly external location, right? See, this one is using external location, and this one is through a external stage. Yeah, external stage. Okay, two options are available. Now, if this is a public bucket, no credentials required, no authorization is required. If it is a private bucket, we have the two options. One is using the credentials. Another one is using the IAM role. Right? There are the two options are available. We'll discuss in detail these two. Right? Clear? This is the one using the credentials, and the one using the storage integration, nothing but using the IAM role. So before going to here, let's jump into our hands-on session. Okay, now I will go here. Let's create a new SQL file, right? Uh, Let me copy a few commands. I will explain all these commands, no worries. So first of all, I'm going to create the another database here. It database name B65DB, right? See, if you see here, automatically selected. If not selected means, for example, if you want to change this one, you can simply use option called use database. If we execute this one, it will go and select that one. Now, before loading this one, I am going to create a one table called the employee table, right? I'm going to create the table. This is the syntax to create the table. Create or replace the table name, right? We have a separate 2 or 3 sessions for SQL basics. We'll discuss over there. For now, just I'm going to create a very simple way. Create or replace the table name, giving the emp. Employee id is in a one column, which is an integer value, which is a primary key. Employee name, which is in a varchar, and as well as location, which is in a varchar, right? Let me try to create the table. Before that, if you refresh here, as of now you cannot see that database B65DB. If you refresh here, see B65DB, and we know by default 2 schemas will be created. One is an information schema, another one is a public schema. Information schema contains the information about the things or objects which are there in that particular database, and public schema default is an empty, right? Now I am going to create the table. This table create in which database B65DB and public schema. Let me try to create that table. Table created successfully. Now if you refresh here, if there is a one table, right? If you see here, the table name is an EMP. For example, if you see select star from EMP, you will see empty. You will see empty. No data is there, right? The field names you can see column names, employee ID, employee name, and location. And now, so we discussed about the file format option. We discussed about the file format option, right? Supported file formats and all. Now, we need a copy into command whenever whenever you want to trying to load the data. See, let me show you. Here I am going to mentioning the file format type is equal to CSV. I am mentioning the file format type is equal to CSV. During this one, we'll do kind of some hands-on first, right? Already we have discussed the 3 part, right? What are the types of file formats and all, and also we saw loading the data. We have chosen like how we can select the file format and all using the web UI. But now, first we'll understand the file format, right? So, for example, this is how. Right, this is the syntax, right? For example, copy into emp, copy into this table from where I want to, from this S3 bucket. This is passing the external location option called credentials, right? AWS key id, right? If you remember, during the IAM session, whenever you, if you create the user with programmatic access, you can get the access key id and AWS key and secret key, right? These two we need to pass. File format type is equal to CSV, right? File format type is equal to CSV. So one way option is like you can mention like file format type is equal to CSV. It will automatically take the file format. If file format is equal to CSV, you can pass here. Or we can create our own file format also. We can create our own file format also, right? Uh, Let me. I don't want this one. I'm trying to create the file format, create or replace the file format. And if you expand this one, as of now, we can see only table, right? Create or replace the file format name. I can give simply my file format, right? See here, create or replace the format name, my file format, right? Let me try to create this file format, execute this one. File format created successfully, right? Now if you go here, refresh here, you can see file format option came. right? File format created. All these tables, views, file formats, schemas, all are database objects. Okay. Now if you see there is a file format. If you click on this one, you can see what are the options are there here. So just I mentioned create or replace the file format. File format name is a my file format. But all these options came. Why? Because there is some default values are there. Default values are there. That's why it will automatically do. For example, if you see here, I have not mentioned anything. The default is a type is a CSV, comma separated value, comma separated value. Skip header default is equal to 0. If you remember, we saw about the skip header option, right? There's a different options are there. If you want to, let me show you here in a option file format in Snowflake. If you click on this one, if you go down, this is the syntax: create or replace the file format. See, for example, whatever within this open and close bracket, those are optional. This is not mandatory, right? So that's why I am skipping create or replace the, see, file format is mandatory. File format is mandatory and format name is mandatory, right? And the rest options are all are optional. What are the file format options are available? See here, these are the different options are available. Compression, right? Auto, ggpu, bg2, depending upon the, for example, if it is in a csv file compression is in a ggp is there, bg2 brutally, like different options are available. For example, if you go down, if it is a JSON, ggp, bg2 brutally, gz default. If you go to avro, ggp brutally, like depending upon the, for example, orc, there is no compression, right? For FARC2, compression is only LZO snappy. If it is an XML, ggp, like depending upon the kind of file format, right? If you see here, here we saw, right? CSV, JSON, Avro, Parquet, these are the supported file format, right? Now, if you see here, if it is a Parquet, these are the options, right? If it is a CSV, these are the options. Record delimiter, string none. Field delimiter, string none. Multi-line, true or false. These are the different options available. That's what here showing here, right? Type CSV, default value CSV. See here, what is the, if you go down, bit down, see, for the CSV we saw, that's why you cannot find this type here. See, type you can mention that CSV, JSON, Avro, Parquet, XML or custom, any of this one. If you are not mentioning anything, automatically it will take the CSV. CSV is the default value. If you want to mention some custom values, you can mention, right? So now these are the options, right? Let me close this one. Now, if you want to describe the file format also, if you execute describe file format and file format name, it will return the same values. See, type string, property value is a CSV here, property value CSV here, record delimiter string, /n means next line, right? What is the, let me open one sample file for you. For example, if I open here, what is the field delimiter? Field delimiter is comma here. Field delimiter, this is the one field value, this is the another field value, this is the another field value. Field delimiter is a comma here, right? See here, field type string CSV means comma separated value. Record delimiter in the sense, this is the one record, this is the one record, this is the one record, this is the one record. How these are separated? By next line, by next line. That's why if you see here, if you see /n indicates the next line, /n indicates the next line, right? Record delimiter is /n. See, field delimiter, comma, right? Like we have skip header 0 means there is no header in that file. This means pass header, like date format, auto, time format, auto, timestamp format, automatically it will take system format, binary format, escape, like different. If any space is there, it will trim the space. Field option and close. This option we will discuss later. This is important, right? Compression automatically took. If you want the specific one, see, for the CSV one, these are the different options are available. Auto means if it is the default value is the auto, that's why it took the auto value. If you want the specific one, you can mention compression inside that syntax. You can mention whatever the value you want. Okay, error on column validation, like different options are available. Okay, now for example, let me create a now what I will do, I can mention the file format name here. See, whenever see here I mentioned the file format type is equal CSV initially, because I don't have any file format. Now I create the file format. Here I pass the file format, same command. Uh, Here initially I have not created any file format, that's why I mentioned the file format is called type is equal CSV. Even though if you not mention also, it's possible, it will work because it will take the CSV as a default value. Now I created the file format name is a my file format. That's what I'm passing here. What is the format? File format is equal to format name. This is not my DB, this is internal one. What we can do, like for example, in a real time you will create the one database to store these file formats, stages, storage integration and all. You can pass the full path over here instead of in our database. So maybe you are going to use the different databases for the different applications, right? But the file formats can be created one separate database from where you can use that one, right? From where you can that's what option here. Like for example, internally you can create the one database and you can pass over there. Okay, now see how we can pass file format name is equal to my file format name, right? Now, for example, if you want to alter the file format, now, for example, if you see here, what is the skip header? Skip header is equal to 0 now. I am going to altering this one. I am going to altering this one. Alter file format. Remove this path, full path. Altering file format. I am going to give the skip header is equal to skip header is equal to skip header is equal to 1. I am going to executing this one. Right now, describe the format again. If you see now, skip header is equal to 1. Previously, default value 0. Default value is a property default, existing current property type, right? Now see here, you can alter the file format if required. Okay. Now, now define the properties on creating the file format. For example, if I want to create the file format with JSON, for example, I'm going to create a format, a mail file format one. Now previously, if you see here, simply I mention, sorry.
నేను అర్థం కావట్లేదు సార్. చాలా ఫాస్ట్ వెళ్ళిపోతున్నారు అసలు స్టార్టింగ్.
Okay. Let me come from starting onwards. ఇక్కడ నుంచి అర్థం కాలేదా? స్లైడ్స్ ఉన్నా.
సార్ ఫైల్ ఫార్మాట్ స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి అర్థం కాదు.
ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ నేను ఏం చేస్తున్నా అంటే ఒక డేటాబేస్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఓకే, ఒక డేటాబేస్ క్రియేట్ చేసినాను, రైట్? నా ఇఫ్ యూ రిప్రెస్ హియర్, డేటాబేస్ ఇస్ ఎంప్టీ డేటాబేస్, నథింగ్ ఇస్ దేర్. B65 DB క్రియేట్ చేసినాను. ఓకే, ఫర్గెట్ అబౌట్. ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు క్రియేట్ ద వన్ టేబుల్. ఒక టేబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను. క్రియేట్ ఆర్ రిప్లేస్ ద టేబుల్. టేబుల్ నేమ్ వచ్చేసి ఈఎంపీ. ఈ టేబుల్లో 3 కాలమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి: ఎంప్లాయీ ఐడి, ఎంప్లాయీ నేమ్ అండ్ లొకేషన్. టేబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేసినాను. ఇఫ్ నువ్వు టేబుల్లో చూస్తే ఎటువంటి డేటా లేదు. నౌ ఫైల్ ఫార్మాట్ ఎందుకు? ఫస్ట్ ఆప్షన్ ఫైల్ ఫార్మాట్ ఎందుకు అంటే, whenever you are trying to load the data into table, whenever you are trying to loading the data into table, you need to mention what kind of file it is. That file contains the CSV data or TSV data or JSON data or XML data or Avro data, Parquet data. What kind of data your file contains, that we need to specify, right? You need to inform to your table. For example, how you can load the data? I have created the table. To load the data, I will execute the command called copy into database name dot schema name dot table name, right? Copy into EMP. If you mention like this, simply it will take the database name this one, schema this one, B65 DB dot public dot EMP table. into, from where? From S3 bucket I am loading, right? Credentials and all we'll discuss later. Ignore this one. Ignore this one. Ignore this one. Now, simply if you execute this one, what it will do? It will try to pull the data from S3 bucket into EMP, right? For example, what is the file name? emp data.txt. Inside that one, what data is there? If it is in a CSV data, comma separated value, then it will load, because default file format value of is a CSV, right? For example, if it is not CSV, it will not load. Right? Yesterday, load data into table in yesterday, during this option open, some table I view emp6. Next, yesterday, if you remember, we have chosen this option, right? We have chosen this option, right? So, for example, even though if you load a CSV file, if you select the JSON, it will throw an error. Right? That's why we need to create the file format, and we need to mention in the command. We need to mention in the we need to mention in our we need to mention inside our copy command. Okay, we need to mention inside our copy command. Right, from here we need to mention copy command here. Okay. For that, what I'm going to creating the file format. Create or replace the file format. Format name is a my file format. Create or replace the file format. Format name is a my file format. Format is created. If you want to see what are the properties of your file format, you need to use command called as describe. Describe means DESC. Describe file format name. What is the file format name? My file format. Execute this one, you can see the options. Here default value is a CSV. I have not mentioned any values here. Type is equal to CSV, type is equal to JSON, type is equal to, like we can pass the different options here. Type is equal to CSV, type is equal to JSON, type is equal to Avro, like we can pass whatever we want. But we have not mentioned. When you are not mentioning anything, it will take the default value. Default value is a CSV. That's why property value is CSV. Similarly, record delimiter, next line. Here also next line. Field delimiter, comma, comma, and so on. So, like that we can create the file format. Now, if you want to file format, you can use a command called alter, right? See, skip header right now it is 0. I want to change to 1. Alter file format name is a my file format. Set, you need to use option called set keyword. Skip header is equal to 1. See here, skip header. This is the skip header. Skip header value is equal to now 0. Default value 0. Whatever the set value 0, because we have not mentioned here. We have not mentioned anything over here. That's why we took the default value as a 0 only. Now I am changing to 1. I am executing this command. Statement executed successfully. Now, if you see again, see the properties, you can execute the command called describe. Describe file format name. See, now set is equal to 1. Format value change it to 1. Okay. Up to now, clear in doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what I did here, create or replace the file format. I have not passed any values. These are the different values we can pass. Type, right? like we have the different options like type, comment, different options are available. File format type, different options, but I have not mentioned anything, right? That's why to the default value. If I want to create the file format with a type is equal to JSON, default CSV, but I want the JSON. That's why I'm going to use command called I'm creating the file format. Create or replace the file format name. I'm giving the my file format one, type is equal to JSON, timestamp is equal, time format is equal to auto. I'm going to creating the this command, executed, file format one created successfully. Now let's describe simply describe file format file format name, execute. Now if you see JSON value, right, default value CSV, but we explicitly mentioned the type is equal to JSON. That's why you can see JSON. Whenever you are trying to loading data from external stage or external location or internal stage, if you want to loading data of JSON type, you need to mention this file format, or you can mention type is equal to JSON also. Okay, altering,
So
right?
time
Altering.
format is equal to auto means what, sir?
Auto means it's a, see here, time format is equal to default value is auto, means automatically system time it will take.
Okay.
Automatically whatever the system time is it will take. It's a, you can just what I'm mentioning here, whether you will pass or not, no problem, because auto, even though if you pass default value it will take. That's what to mention that one I pass this one. It's not necessary. Okay. Now, what I want to do, I want to alter the file format type. I want to alter the file format type, right? See, already I have created the format, one file format name is my file format one of JSON type. I want to change this to CSV. It's not possible. Let me try to alter. See, file format type cannot be changed. You cannot change. Previously, we altered for skip header. For skip header is allowed, but for type, it's not allowed. Clear? For example, let me execute this one. If you see here, for the type, you cannot use alter. For other options, for few options, it's allowed. For example, skip header, it allowed. For skip header, it allowed. Right? Like that. For JSON, you cannot see the skip header. For JSON, you cannot see the skip header. Okay? Like for the type value, you cannot modify. If you want to recreate it, you can recreate. For example, I want to recreate. Previously, for my file format one, there is a JSON. If I am recreate, I have not mentioned anything. Default value become, what is the default value? Default value become CSV only. Default value become CSV only. See CSV. For the my file format one also. Sorry. Let me one here. Execute this one. Default value CSV one. Right? Like that we can create. Now, for example, we have created the file format. Right? File format name. For example, I pass the full path here or minimum path. And skip header is 0, for example, previously. I want to add to 1. In the fly itself only, you can overwrite the properties in a copy into command. What does it mean? We have a one file format. Format name is a my file format name. In that, there are a few options are available. Type is equal CSV, skip header is equal to 1 and all. Now, I want skip header is equal to 2. Instead of altering the file format, you can pass the values in a copy command itself only, so that it will override the properties. It will override the properties for this particular command only. For this particular command only. Clear? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. This is about the file formats. You can create the file format, you can alter the file format, right? Depending upon your requirement, you can create any type of file format. For example, CSV, TSV, JSON, Avro, XML and all. Now we'll discuss about the stage, right? Stage, this option, right? And Yesterday we saw these slides. Stages. What is the stage? Stages in Snowflake. Stage is an intermediate space where we can upload the file so that we can copy command to load or unload the tables. Following types of mainly two kinds. One is an external table, another one is an internal table. In internal, again three types: user stage, table stage, internally named stage. So external stage. External stage are storage locations outside of the Snowflake environment. Means in another cloud, like for example, AWS S3 bucket or Azure Lab or Google Storage. Right? So we'll discuss about the stages. Hands-on we'll see. So, for example, stage is connecting to a bucket. Stage is connecting to a bucket. Even though if you see diagram also it says that stage is pointing to this bucket. See here. Stage is pointing to this external stage is pointing to this bucket. Okay. Stage is pointing to this bucket. So, for example, if my bucket is a public bucket, anyone can access. Anyone can access, right? If my bucket is a private bucket, we need to be authorized. There are the two ways of authorization. One is using user credentials, another one is using the storage integration with AWS IAM. Right? Now let's see. For example, if I go here, this bucket Snowflake 3 is a public accessible bucket created by the Snowflake. ఈ S3 bucket ఏంటంటే స్నోఫ్లేక్ వాళ్ళు క్రియేట్ చేసి పబ్లిక్ పెట్టారు ఎందుకంటే ఫర్ శాంపిల్ డేటా పర్పస్ రైట్ ఫర్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు క్రియేట్ ద స్టేజ్ రైట్ create or replace stage name AWS stage, right? For example, sample any name you can give here. Create or replace the stage name. URL, I am passing this bucket URL which is provided by the Snowflake guys only. This stage is going to create in which database? In B65DB in public schema, right? Let me try to, for example, if you refresh here, as of now you can see tables and file format. Let me go to and create this stage created successfully. How it created? Because it is in a public bucket. Now if you refresh here, you can see stage option here inside this database. Let me drag a bit more. See here stage came. If you expand this one, you can see AWS stage, right? Now if you want to see what are the files inside that table, inside that stage, you can use option called list at the rate of stage name. Execute this command. There are three files inside that inside this bucket. What is the bucket name? Bucket Snowflake 3. This bucket is a public bucket created by the Snowflake, right? So inside that one there are the three files are there. What are the file names? See, S3, this is colon / bucket name is a bucket Snowflake 3. One file name called loan under payment under data.csv. Another file name called order details csv. Another file name called sample data.csv. These are the three files. These are the sizes, different size bytes. And when last modified, right? They added around 2021. They modified around 2021. Still that file is there over there only. Okay. Now, for example, I want to load this data, this order table data, right, into my table. For example, how you can find what columns and all, what are the available and all. For that, what we can do? Select $1, $2 from stage name AWS under stage. Let me execute this one. Now see, $1 is customer name, different options are available. But now if you see list, there are three files are there. I want to mention specific to this file name, right? For example, AWS stage /sample sorry, I want the order details, details, order details dot CSV. Let me try to execute. See, inside this file, there is a order ID amount. These are the values, but I can see two fields. What about if there is a more, right? Let me check. $3, $1 indicates the first column, $2 indicates the second column, $3 indicates the fourth column, and so on. $4, comma, $5. Let me execute. I can see 5 column values. Similarly, I am going to expanding $6, comma, $7. Let me execute again. Now see here, for the first 6 columns, there is the data. For the next $7, there is no data. This comes dollar instead of dollar. For the $6, there is data. For $7, no data. Means this order details file contains the 6 columns. What is the column name? Order ID, amount to, profit to, quantity, category, subcategory. Right? For that, I am going to create the one table. Right? Create or replace the table. Table name. I am going to provide the table name called orders, which having the order ID, right? Amount, profit, quantity, category, subcategory. I am going to create in the table, orders table. It is the table. Now, if you replace my database, if you expand tables, you can see the option called orders table. And if you cross over there, you can see what are the number of rows. Number of rows 0. Nothing is there inside my table. Now, for example, let me select star from orders. Include this one. No data is there. I can see the order ID column names. That's all. Now I'm going to execute in the copy command. Right? Select copy into my table. Database name or schema name will take from here. Right? Copy into table name from what is the my stage name? AWS stage. We need to mention at that stage. File format type is equal to field delimiter, skip header is equal to 1. For now, I will going to remove these options. What will happen? We'll see. Right? I am going to execute only copy this one from this one. Let me try to load this one. It throws some error because inside stage there are the 3 files are there. Let me show you. List at the rate AWS under stage. Right? There are 3 files are there. If you mention copy into order table, which file it want to load? If all the files having the same column, same data, it will load, no issue. But the number of columns here, number of columns here may not be same. That's why it thrown error. What is the error? You can see here. Number of columns in file 2 does not match with the corresponding table 6. Means in a file 2, there are the only 2 columns. But in my table, there are the 4 columns. That's why it's thrown error. Right? For that, what we need to do? We need to mention option called pattern order. Right? What does it mean? Let me execute the list command again. List at the rate of AWS under. This pattern and all we'll discuss later. See, pattern indicates select the file with the name of order. Out of this one, loan payment, order details, sample data, this file is the order. So it will pull all the order files. If there is a multiple order files with same column names, it will pull the all order files. Right? For now, for example, inside this command, if you want to specifically ignore the one line, you can mention like this, that will be ignored. That will not execute. Right? It's just simply commenting. It will not execute that particular one. For example, what I will do, I am going to execute this command. Let me try to execute this one. BLS copy into orders. Let me try to execute. I'm going to execute in the copy into command. Numeric value amount is recognized on order value line number character 1 10 rows, right? It shows the some error. Let me remove this one. Let me try to execute this one. Now see, there are 1500 rows are loaded. Why? Because why? Because previously under skip header we mentioned 1. But in my field delimiter, if it is not there, if it is field delimiter, if it is a comma, if it is not there, it will throw an error. That's why I passing this one, right? So that we are able to load the data. You can mention file format type is equal to CSV field delimiter, or simply let me go to click on file format. If you see here, skip header is equal to 1 is there, right? Instead of this one, what I will do, let me first truncate my table. I'm going to deleting the data my table. Truncate orders. I'm deleting the file. If you see now, select the star from orders. No data is there. Instead of this one, if you see here, what we mentioned here in the starting, either you can pass directly or you can mention the file format name. Format name, you can pass this one also. Right? Go down. Here, instead of this one, simply I will pass either one will work. I'm commenting the above line. I'm commenting the above line. I'm going the my file format is equal to 1, right? Only what it contains, the default value is equal to CSV and skip header is equal to 1 is there, right? And if you see our file contains the our file contains the header, where you can see from here. I'm closing this one. See, order ID. Our file contains the header, but this header I don't want to pull, right? Why? Because thrown error. I created the table. With the integer and all. For example, amount is integer, but amount is taking this string value. That's the thrown error. Now see here. I'm going to, if you see inside this table, empty data, I'm executing this one. Previously, I mentioned type is equal to CSV, field delimiter is equal to skip header is equal to 1 and all. But all these options are available inside my file format. Create a file name of my file format. I'm going to executing this one. Now it will load, right? Loaded. If you see select star from orders, you can see the data is there. See order ID and all. Clear? Are you getting confused or clear? Okay.
సార్ ఇది పబ్లిక్ గా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఓకే, ప్రైవేట్ గా ఉన్నప్పుడు మరి సార్
Yeah. Next step. I will discuss. Next step. Okay.
తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ప్రీవియస్ లోన స్టార్టింగ్ అంటే డేటా చూపెట్టలేదు కదా సార్, అప్పుడు మరి అది ఎలా సార్? ప్రీవియస్ స్లైడ్ ప్రీవియస్ సింటాక్సెస్ డేటా అంటే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయలేదు కదా, అప్పుడు ఎలా సార్? ఇప్పుడు డేటా కనిపిస్తుంది, మనం డేటా ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసాము, ప్రీవియస్ డేటా ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయలేదు కదా మరి.
డేటా ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయకముందు ఈ కమాండ్ మనం యూజ్ చేసి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తాం. ఇది డైరెక్ట్, ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇది స్టేజ్లోంచి డైరెక్ట్గా నువ్వు డేటా చూడొచ్చు. దిస్ ఇస్ ద కమాండ్ సెలెక్ట్. నాకు ఇక్కడ కాలం నేమ్స్ తెలియవు, అందుకే $1 ఫస్ట్ కాలం, $2 సెకండ్ కాలం, $3 థర్డ్ కాలం, ఈ విధంగా మనం ఇచ్చేసి ఈ కమాండ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే ఫస్ట్ వచ్చేసి నేను టేబుల్లో డేటా డిలీట్ చేస్తాను. టేబుల్ డిలీట్ చేసినాను. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ సీ టేబుల్ ఎంటీ. ఓకే, మనం లోడ్ చేయకముందే, బిఫోర్ లోడింగ్ యూ కెన్ సీ ద డేటా ఫ్రమ్ ద స్టేజ్ యూజింగ్ దిస్ కమాండ్. We can able to see by looking this one. You can, yeah.
ఈ డేటా ఈ టేబుల్లో కూడా మనం అప్డేట్ చేయొచ్చు సార్. ఏదైనా ఏదైనా ఒక వాల్యూని అప్డేట్ చేయాలనుకున్న, డిలీట్
స్టేజ్లోనే
చేయాలనుకున్న
ఎప్పుడు చేయలేము. స్టేజ్లోనే ఎప్పుడు
స్టేజ్.
చేయలేము. We have option called transformations. There is separate session for transformations. See, there are the two options. One is data maybe in stage, data in local table. Another option called external table is there. Different options, types of tables are there. If data in stages, what format, what for transformations you can do? Separate session we have. If it is an external table, not only external stage, external table option is there. That we'll discuss in coming session. If data in a stage, there is a limited transformations are available, that we can see later. Okay, clearness.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now for example, I am going to my log into my AWS account. I will go to S3. I will go to S3. Inside S3 there are the two buckets. I will delete one bucket which is not required. Okay, now objects from buckets. I am going to delete this bucket. Okay, there is only one bucket. Yeah. There is a few objects are there. I am going to deleting those things. Now it's in a empty bucket, right? Now my bucket is an empty. Now if you see here, my bucket is empty, and if you see properties, permissions, my bucket is a blocked. Public access is blocked, right? Now, what we do? Let me go to my Snowflake, right? Now, after file format, here we have, right? Let me copy this command. I will go down. What I will do, instead of this one, I will give them our bucket name, right? Go to here and objects. And if you want to copy URL, you can pass, but as of now, no objects is there. That's why you can see this error. What is my bucket name? SDKR-BKT65. I will go here. SDKR-BKT65. Let me try to create the another stage, which is called AWS stage 1 with this URL. List @ AWS stage 1. Why is no results? It should not be loaded. Let me upload the one file. Add files. I am loading the one file called emp file later. Upload it. Now let's try to this one. Somewhere my bucket made public. Let me go back to here. Close it. Permissions. Yeah. Here we passed the some resource. That's why this showing. Yeah, public access is off mode. This is in off mode. Let me go back here. Editor. Block all. For మనం ఒక ఇమేజ్ పెట్టి ఆ ఇమేజ్ టెస్ట్ చేయడం కోసం దీన్ని పబ్లిక్ బకెట్ చేసినాం, రైట్? దట్స్ వై ఇట్స్ షోయింగ్ దట్ పర్పస్. కన్ఫర్మ్. Now it is in a accessed. Now it is in a private bucket. Let me try to recreate my stage. Created. Let me go this one. Now see, access denied. Access denied. Or what I will do, I will go and create the one more bucket. Create the bucket. General public. I will give all the default values. Just try to provide the bucket name. That's all. Batch 65 BKT 1. Batch 65 BKT 1. This is my bucket name. Let me go to create the bucket. Now bucket created. This is my bucket, batch 65 BKT. Now if you click on this bucket, if you go to permissions, public access is on, block public access on. Previously it was an off for other bucket, right? Now I will go here. I will try to provide the bucket name, right? I will going to create another stage, AWS stage 2, stage created. Now if you see list this one, it throws the access denied. So whatever the bucket provided by the AWS, sorry, by the Snowflake, that is the public bucket, right? They make here it is in a off. They remove the public all block access. They removed and they made is an off. Simply they will select these options and they will remove these options and they will save, so that that bucket become public, so that anybody can access. We saw, but in our case, our bucket is in a private bucket now, right? So that you cannot have an access. To do access, what we can do, there are the two ways. One is using the user credentials. Let's first providing the user credentials. I will provide the my stage name is SF S3 credential stage. Any name you can give. Simply S3 stage name, right? And here I am going to pass my bucket name. This is the syntax: create or replace the stage name, URL bucket name, and credentials, AWS key ID and secret key ID, right? So how you can get? Go to IAM, right? There are the users, right? You can create the new user or you can use the existing user. Abhi, Divya, Jay, few users are there. The user who having a programmatic access, for that there is a access key and secret key. See, access key, secret key is available for only Abhi and Divya, right? If you can use this one, or you can create the new also. For Divya, we have disabled console access, disabled, right? Console is enabled and all. For that, for the programmatic access, we have for both options, for both these guys, right? So you can use those options, or let me create the new user for simple. Like click on the create user. I will provide the name as an SF user, right? SF user. We need a, if you want, by default programmatic comes, if you want to management console access, you can select option or you can ignore it. For now, we don't want. Click on next. right? And this user should have the permissions to S3 bucket, otherwise we cannot. Let me, for now I'm going to attach any policy, click on next, right? Click on create user, right? Now go to username SF user, and if you go to security credentials, right, you can see access keys. As of now, no access keys. Create the access key, whether you want a command line or local mode or application running on AWS compute service or third-party service. I will select the third-party service because I am connecting to you plan to use the access keys to enable the access for third-party applications or services that monitors or manage AWS services. No, we need to use these options. AWS running outside of the AWS. Click on next. Click on the create access key. Now download this one. Go here. Open this one. Now I will go here, access key. I will take this access key. I will go to my Snowflake. I will pass access key here. Similarly, I want to pass the secret key. Right? Now I will try to create the one stage name called S3 cred stage. Created. Now list at the rate S3 under cred under STG. Execute. Is not authorized to perform the S3 bucket list. Why? Because we created the username called SF user, does not have provided any permission. That's why it's thrown error. Now I will go to AM, right? Done. Go to user SF user. Inside that one, go to permissions. As of now, no permission, no policies are there. Add permission, and attach the policy directly. I will provide the S3 full access. S3 full access. Click next. Add permission. Done. Now I will go to my Snowflake. I will try to execute the list command again. Now it's shown. There is no files. That's why it's shown empty, but no error. Let me go to my bucket. I will go to add the file, upload the file, add file, employee data, open it, upload. We have loaded. Now go to Snowflake again, execute list command again, list at the top stage. This command I executed. I can see inside batch 65 bkt1 file name called emp data. Now the same thing you can see, select $1 comma $2 comma $3 from at the rate stage name. What is my stage name? AWS, sorry, S3 under cred under STG. Now to show the data as well. See, this is the file we have uploaded, right? This is the file we have uploaded, right? You can see the data. Now I am going to create the one table. Create or replace. Let me see, any table is there. EMP table is there already, right? We don't want to create. Select star from EMP. Select star from. Now table is an empty. EMP ID, employee name empty. Now we created the stage using credentials. Now I will execute the command, copy command. Copy into table name is an EMP from where? At the rate stage name. What is the stage name? S3 cred STG. Right? What I am doing, I'm able to access my stage, so that I'm going to load the data from this stage. Copy into EMP from this option. Now see, There the 5 rows are loaded. If you go and select star from EMP, you can see the data. Clear any doubts?
Yes.
Okay. Now there are the two ways here, right? You can create this stage, or you can get from external stage also, external location also. That also we'll see. So for now, what we saw, just we have tried to create the stage using credentials, but we are exposing these credentials. This code, whatever the code you are writing here, this SQL code, you need to upload to the GitHub. You need to upload to the GitHub so that you are exposing your credentials over the internet, right? You are exposing your credentials over the internet so that if any hacker access your code, they can access your credentials so that they can access your S3 bucket. That's why this method is not recommended. Always we'll go with using IAM. That's what we discussed during our S3 bucket also. So that in the next session, we'll discuss how to create the storage integration using IAM so that we can able to load the data without using any credentials so that we are safety or we are secure from threats. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubts you can ask me.
Yes.
కొంచెం